okay, this is necessary. So, I tell people all the time that healing is not, you just arrive and you're healed. Healing is an ongoing process for as long as you live, and then you're going to experience more life and more uncomfortable situations that you then have to heal from those just as soon as you think you're just as healed as you're going to be. So it's just
Right.
always, ongoing. But, obviously my writing, being able to just journal in general, and then turning those into movies and just tap into that creativity that God.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Lived Experience Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Tamearyan, and today I am honored and so happy to have the beautiful Vitelle here today. She is a multi-talented entertainer, speaker, and advocate whose powerful story of resilience and hope has touched countless lives. Through her acclaimed one-woman show, Nine Lives, Vitelle transforms her personal journey of overcoming trauma into a beautiful message of healing and empowerment. She's a passionate advocate. She works tirelessly to help others avoid the devastating effects of human trafficking, experiencing domestic violence, homelessness, and she has a real ability to connect with her audience. She gets down on a personal level, and as I mentioned, she's currently touring with her Nine Lives World Tour of 2025, bringing her message of hope and resilience around the globe. So thank you so much, Miss Vitelle, for being here today and taking the
Thank
time out
you.
of your busy schedule. I know you're booked and busy, so I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me. This is awesome. Thank you for being here. And thank you for doing what you do.
Thank you, thank you. So I like to just jump right into it, and I'm going to get into your tour and all the great things that you have going on. And the name of your tour is Nine Lives, which really suggests like these multiple transformations or rebirths. So I'd
Right.
like for you to take us through your journey on what inspired this tour and just sharing a little bit about yourself.
First off, I love that you said it gives you the idea of many rebirths rather than a split personality, because some people do confuse it with split personality. So, for the record, I do not have split personality disorder. I just chose to use nine different characters in order to tell my story. And honestly, the number one reason for that was because we were in the middle of a pandemic. Right after I published my book, the whole world shut down, and I was not able to turn around and make the show that was meant to go to the book like I wanted to. And so, being that I had that setback, I couldn't have a casting call, couldn't hire a crew, team, actors, anything like that. I was like, you know what? I'm going to be all of them. And so that's how it ended up being a one woman show in the first place. It was already pre-written in my mind because I knew what I intended to do after writing the book. It was just a matter of casting it, turning it into a script and making it happen. But it became a one-woman show because of the pandemic. So amazingly enough, with that being the reason why and being a setback in the first place, it just all was part of God's plan at the end of the day, because for it to be a one woman show now is even more impressive, I guess,
Yeah.
for someone to tell their story like that. So I have been through multiple different traumas throughout my life, and from homelessness to domestic violence, even depression, dealing with suicidal ideation, all of these things that I've experienced throughout my life, that I now understand that the reason that I went through those is to help other people who are going through them. So now I can look back and say, I'm grateful over those circumstances that I went through. And now through my healing process, I'm going to put them into characters, multiple characters in this case, in order to translate the testimony to the audience. So that's how Nine Lives came to be, and that's a little bit about what it is, but it's so much more. At the end of the day, it has become just this massive movement that does not just start the day of the show. We come into a new city the week before the show, and we make appearances and go meet people and have all of this action and activity happening throughout the week with the community. And it's just like the show is just going on the whole week. So by the time we get to the actual show, which in this case is just in a couple of days, it's whoa, I'm wore out already.
Yeah.
But everybody's anticipating it, and so the show must go on, and it will. But yeah, so it's vendors, it's part movie, it's part play. We have food, we have red carpet, we have an amazing host. Shout out to Aisha Blackford. It's just it's way bigger than a one-woman show now. Yeah.
Yes, and that is just, thank you so much for sharing that and just hearing how it even came to form. And it just speaks to your creativity, because a lot of people would have just said, you know what, it's a pandemic, it's too much going on right now, like it's not meant to be, right? No. But I love how you flip that and you just embrace that and says, you know what, I'm going to do this, I'm going to put a different spin on it. And it's just amazing hearing. And I love how you connect with the community, just embracing the community, making them a part. It's this whole event. It's not just like this moment in time. It's like you really are integrated with the audience, and that just is special.
And that was not really my intention, honestly, because, when it first started, it was virtual, obviously. I forgot to mention that part. It was on Zoom. And so then once the world opened back up and we took it to the stages, it's just developed to that from there. And it's really because of the people and just God just moving and directing. And we just follow the path and say yes and show up. And it just turns into something so much bigger. So not my intention at all. Nothing but God. That's why I can't do nothing but give credit to him for this, because I'm like, what? This was not what I was expecting.
No, and you've just continued to just bring it bigger. It sounds like it started out virtual. Now, it's in person. So I love to hear about the transformation of just the original concept to what it is now. And like you said, it's more than just a one woman show. It's like it's out there in the community and you have so many people involved. I'd love to hear a little bit about your background in terms of your artistry. Where did this creativity all come from?
Once again, nothing but God, because I don't remember ever not being this person. When people ask me, I can say when my career officially started, when I officially left the day job and knew this is not for me, I know what I'm supposed to do, I'm going to go do it, was in 2009. But I had been acting long before then. I was doing church plays as a younger child. And so I remember church plays and school plays and all of just every opportunity that was available to me to be creative and act. And even further back than I actually remember, I've seen videos where I can watch that child that I don't really have their memories anymore and think, y'all don't see this? She obviously was a superstar, because it was just always, you could just tell looking at that version of me that it was always there. So, it's definitely a God gift. When I watch video playbacks of shows or anything that I've done that's recorded, I'm like, I don't even remember saying that. It's like I just go somewhere else and just God just uses me in those moments. So I know it's definitely from him, and it's just always been there.
Thank you. And you touched on your trauma, and it's so hard to put trauma into a 30-minute interview, right? Because this is like lifelong healing. But how has your artistry helped you through trauma?
Oh, absolutely. I was going through my healing journey before I started Nine Lives, but Nine Lives itself has really taken me to the next level of healing, because I was able to talk about things that I didn't know I was ready to talk about. I felt, hey, ready or not, here we come. Started moving forward on it, but there were some moments where it was like, whoa, this is harder than I thought it would be, where I really had to reflect back and tap into memories that I didn't know. I had to go to a therapist all over again and start like reflecting. I almost did hypnosis, but honestly, I was like, you know what? If everything that I remember so far is this much, I don't really know if I want to know more. I don't know if I want to fill in the blank spaces. So I just did basic therapy where I was able to just relax and try to remember, not necessarily hypnosis, but even in doing that and then doing my research and asking other family members their parts of the story so that I could piece it all together in chronological order so I could make it make sense for a show. All of that process was just discovering myself and understanding me better, and just being able to accept, even now as this show keeps growing bigger and bigger, it keeps helping so many people. I see it every time somebody gives me a testimony after the show, I'm just like reminded constantly, that this is why God allowed me to go through these things. And I think I need the constant reminder, because there's so many times where I do get burnt out. Like even right now, you can't tell because I'm doing what I do, but I'm exhausted. I got 10 minutes of sleep, but the dedication is just unreal, because I know how much bigger this is than myself, and I know how much of an impact it's having, and those reminders from people is what keeps me going and makes me like, okay, this is necessary. I tell people all the time that healing is not, you just arrive and you're healed. Healing is an ongoing process for as long as you live, and then you're going to experience more life and more uncomfortable situations that you then have to heal from those just as soon as you think you're just as healed as you're going to be. So It's just always ongoing. But obviously my writing, being able to just journal in general, and then turning those into movies and just tap into that creativity that God gave me is definitely the major, probably the number one, I could say, part of my healing journey that's helped me the most.
Yes, and you said something really powerful about, as you go through it, you start uncovering things that maybe you didn't even know you were feeling. You start tapping into more things, showing grace to yourself, really, because you start uncovering things. And I appreciate you saying you got that support, because sometimes we're afraid to get that help, stigmas, whatever might be holding us back. And speaking in that framework, you talk about some heavy issues in our lives: domestic violence, experiencing homelessness, human trafficking. How do you approach these topics and really try to help empower people rather than overwhelming your audience? Because I know some of it's heavy. So how do you balance that?
That's a great question. And actually, with this particular show, Nine Lives, because we know the heaviness of the topic, we purposely keep this audience very limited. We try to have maybe between 50 to 70 people max. We try to cut it off at a certain point, because we want every single person that comes in there to feel more like they're going to a therapy session than just a show where they're just another face in the crowd and then they're gone. So everybody gets the opportunity to speak with me and take pictures and whatever the case may be, but just to come up and pour out into me after the show as well. So they all feel seen. I make sure that I train like all of our volunteers, all of our staff, even our vendors who come to sell. I have a quick rundown with them before the show to remind them, look, there's someone coming in here today who is at the end of their rope, and you could be responsible for either making or breaking their entire life. So just understanding the importance of that, and making sure they have a smile on their face, making sure that each person that comes in, like I said, it's an experience. It's not just, here's my ticket, go find a seat. Like, you come in, you're escorted, you're greeted, we got your name, we got the face, we've introduced ourselves. Like, you're part of the family now. And it's to the point where by the time the show is over, people don't want to leave. That's the atmosphere that we create. And so we do that because we understand how the show is going to be, and we're so aware. I make sure that my team is reminded and aware of the fact that someone may have a panic attack in the audience or be triggered or anything while they're watching this show. And if that happens, you need to know what that looks like. You need to be aware so that you can be there for them, so that you can know, do they need a hug? Do they need a tissue? Do they need to be escorted out? Whatever it is that they need. And also, one of the main aspects of our show is that when we come in, we're connecting with the community. The number one people that we're connecting with are other organizations who already are professionals at this, and this is what they specialize in. And so we make sure that they're in the building too. So whether they set up a vendor table or they're just another person in the audience sitting, just available to people, even pastors who can come and pray. We have prayer warriors if people need prayer. Like, we just have so many options and solutions there. And not to mention, because we know this show is just one day and no one's going to be healed instantly just by watching the show, but it is going to open up some wounds that will require further healing. Now we've connected you with organizations in your own city that you might not have even known existed, and you can connect with them to get further assistance after we're gone. So it's a whole mission and movement from beginning to end, and long after we leave that city, it continues to grow and help the people that need it. So we definitely plan around all of that, and we haven't had any incidents as of yet. The worst case scenario is there is some scenes that people do have to step out or be escorted out, which is totally understandable. But yeah, that's how this show is. That's why I literally put a disclaimer on my flyer. On one of my flyers, I don't think it's on this one, but it says this show is not for anyone who's not ready to heal. And believe it or not, like I've filled up shows with 600 people or more. And this show here, it's, even though I say I cap it off at 50 to 70, you'd be surprised how hard it is to get those few seats filled sometimes. It's because when we come in and we're telling them, oh, it's about healing from trauma, they're like, huh? We don't, they don't do that. Like they just don't want to do that, unfortunately. So to present it in a way that's entertaining, that's exciting, and things like that is important as well, because we want them to want to come and get some healing.
Yes. And like you said, you have to be in that space and ready for it. And it may not be that time yet, but at the time they might be ready. And I love, especially as a social worker, I love that you are connecting people with organizations and providing that wraparound support from beginning to middle to end, to have that follow through and that aftercare support. And so that's wonderful. So I appreciate that. Just in talking and just listening to your story, and you've mentioned community a few times, what role has community played in your healing personally?
That's a good question. I think it's an interesting question for me because I'm actually an introvert, believe it or not. I'd rather be alone, honestly. 99.9% of the time. So I've had to force myself to do community to even people at all. Peopling is exhausting for me. It's necessary, obviously, because it's the people that make the show, and that's what drives me. Like I mentioned earlier, like just hearing their testimonies and knowing that I'm helping somebody else, that's what makes it all worthwhile for me. Even it's so interesting how I come into cities, and sometimes I'll come by myself ahead of the team, and just like I did with Nashville, and it's like by the time I get there, I'm not by myself for long. People literally gravitate, like God sends all the right people, and next thing I got a whole entourage. By the time the rest of my team gets here, I'm like, all right, team, meet my Nashville team that is now my team. So it's like the community is everything. The company, the businesses that allow us to hang our flyers in exchange for promotion, that just help spread the word. And then of course the organizations and just all the people in the community are so important. Even colleges, we started connecting with colleges to partner with us because they've got all these people at once that they can reach out to. And yeah, it's definitely the most important aspect, but it's just exhausting.
As an introvert, yeah.
Yeah, as an introvert, it's a little bit, it's nothing personal if I have to step away and just breathe myself for a second, but
you
I
have to
know how
protect
important that
yourself.
is.
Yeah, you have to protect yourself too, because I can only imagine that as you're performing, it's taking you back to some of those places that you were in. And so you have to give yourself that grace and space as well to say, okay, I need a break from everybody.
And you know what? Now that since you mentioned that, it used to. When I first started doing this show, it used to take me back, and and that was when I was really going. There were certain parts that I was learning. I still got to heal from that. I still got to heal from that. If I was still reacting to it, then I still felt I needed to heal from it. So now I'm to the point where I don't want to say I'm numb to it, but I'll be watching the movie, and it's interesting to me because it feels new to me every single time I watch it. Even though I wrote it, I filmed it, I edited it, I did all these things, but it still feels like I'm watching something that like God did that, because I don't even remember, and I'm just laughing at the characters like it's somebody else. Like it doesn't connect with me anymore. Dang. If anything, I think, wow, I really went through all that like that. It's almost like you had a dream years ago and you remember that dream because you wrote it down. But for the most part, it's not like it doesn't feel like it happened yesterday anymore. So the way that I have to connect with my emotions in order to bring it on the stage is that I connect with the audience. Like I'll literally be back behind the stage, either watching them out the curtain, or like I'll come behind them sometimes when they're watching the movie so they don't know I'm there, and just seeing their reactions and stuff, and just feeling just their energy and how they're connecting to, and knowing, like I can feel when people in the room are dealing with this stuff currently. And it's just, that's the feeling that I have to tap into now, because I'm so disconnected from the fact that this is my reality.
Thank you for that. For someone who might be in the early stages of their healing journey, what would you want them to know about the path going forward?
Oh, so I always tell people that Nothing lasts always. That's like the main thing that got me through everything, is understanding that when you're in your childhood, it doesn't last forever. Actually, it goes by pretty quick in hindsight. But in that moment when you're there, it's, oh my gosh, I can't wait to be grown. It's like you're ready for it to be over with. So I would just encourage people to embrace every moment, whether good or bad. I learned how to embrace my bad moments because I knew my future included turning this stuff into a book, turning this stuff into a movie. Like, I got excited about that, and I lived in the future a little bit too much probably, but I also tried to embrace the moments now, because it's okay, I got to take this all in, I got to write this all down, this is going to become something. So I understand now in hindsight that everything that we go through is a part of our purpose and our destiny, and God would not allow us to go through it if it wasn't for a reason. So now things don't happen to me anymore. Things happen for me. Even when it feels like something that sucks, like totaling your car, which I did not too long ago. But hey, turned into a blessing, because guess what? Now I got my dream car. It wouldn't have happened if I didn't. So just understanding, even in that moment, as hard as it is to believe that whatever this is right here, I'm going to trust that God has a plan for it on the other side. So we're just going to ride this way, whatever that looks like for you, and just get to that point where you can say, look what God did. And there you have it. That's the best advice I could give.
Thank you so much for sharing your journey, your story. I'd love to hear and for you to share where people can find you. Where is the tour occurring? How many cities? And just whatever information you'd like to share with the listeners.
Absolutely. First, I want to remind everybody that this show, the 9 Lives World Tour, is actually based on my book, once again, that I produced right before the pandemic. So this is I Am a Poetic Ensemble. It's available on Amazon, but you can get a signed copy directly from me right now at my website, which is vitelle.net. That's VITELLE.net. If you go to that website and click on author, you'll see a place where you can order the book directly. It includes shipping and handling and everything, and I will sign it and personally mail it to you. So this book is the memoir of my life, written in poetry format. It is where 9 Lives, the world tour, came from. So this turned into this. So you definitely, I encourage you to read this before you come see this. But even if you don't, still come see 9 Lives, and you can get a book directly from me in person at the show if you haven't got your book already. So definitely go to vitelle.net, connect with me through all your social media. You can get tickets from there. Everything is right there, easy for you in one place. You can also subscribe via email at vitelle.net. And if you would like to subscribe even further by receiving text messages from me, you can shoot me a text message at 770-626-5075. And if you join my text blast list, you will get exclusive discounts. You'll be the first to know when new plays and movies and books are dropping and all of the things. So I definitely hope to see y'all at 9 Lives World Tour. But whether you can make it there or not, still connect with us so you can know what's coming up next for Us 3 Productions.
Yes, and we'll make sure we have all that information down in the description so people can follow you and stay tuned. Do you have anything else on the horizon that you're hoping to start working on, or are you just focused on the tour right now, then hopefully getting a break?
Both of them. Okay. I am definitely trying to focus in on the tour because it's a lot, and I don't want to overwhelm myself even more than I already am. But we are bringing back my show. It has not been on the stage for about 8 years now. It's called The Face of Homeless. So a lot of people know of it if they've been following me since before the pandemic. But we're bringing that show back very soon. And we're also bringing the book that goes with that show, will be officially out and available for you guys to purchase, finally, after so many years. But yeah, so that's just a couple of the things that's coming up. But trust and believe, I got about 50 some projects up my sleeves right now that will all be released to you guys sooner than you think.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
I thank you so much for taking the time out. Like I said, I know that you are so busy, and listeners, please check out Vitelle, check out her book, her show. Just sign up so you can stay looped in, and we'll definitely have you back in the future because I know you're going to keep dropping things and just continuing to make waves. So thank you so much for your time, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
Thank you.